All right, we begin with President Trump's plan to shake up federal law enforcement with the nomination of Kash Patel as FBI director. Let's bring in Senator Marsha Blackburn, who serves on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Senator, we're so happy to have you today. Let me read this from President Trump's post. He says, Kash is a brilliant lawyer, investigator, and America First fighter who has spent his career exposing corruption, defending justice, and protecting the American people. So he's being praised on the right for all of that. But of course, the criticism from the left is already starting. They're saying Trump wants a supporter who's going to carry out his demands for specific law enforcement actions. What's your take on it?
Jackie, I think it is so interesting that those on the left are talking about experience, because Kash Patel has more experience than just about anybody coming into this position. He's been a prosecutor. He's been recognized by DOJ for success in these prosecutions. He has been the deputy DNI. He's been the chief of staff at the Department of Defense. He has a well-rounded background. I look forward to supporting him and pushing this nomination across the finish line. The American people want President Trump's cabinet nominees to be confirmed, and that is the job that we should be doing immediately on January 20th.
And he's been very outspoken about going after the deep state. So is President Trump. So that is top of the agenda. Well, I have you. I know you're very passionate about the border, Senator. And of course, we've talked about this many times. It was an issue that was tied to the economy and potentially #1 for voters as they went in to cast their ballot on Election Day. We've got a situation where we've got illegals in this country. President Trump now threatening some of those tariffs on Canada and Mexico, saying we've got a drug problem, we've got a crime problem, we've got to close these borders. And you've got leaders who are coming to the table to talk to him. Tell me how you think this strategy is going to play out.
What you're going to see is basically the global diplomacy of rock, paper, scissors. It is strength, weakness, appeasement, and strength wins. They know Donald Trump is a strong leader. They know if he says he's going to sanction you, if he's going to hold you to accountable, he is going to do that. That's why you saw Justin Trudeau fly to Palm Beach to meet with President Trump. It is why you see global leaders coming to the table in advance of his being sworn into office. And Jackie, I will add to this, not only the geopolitical issues, but you look at the economic issues with the Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 taxes, the global minimum tax. They know full well Donald Trump is not going to allow U.S. companies to carry the bulk of that tax, which is what the Biden administration has pushed them to do.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Meantime, I got to talk to Tom Homan yesterday. He's the border czar, talking about his strategy for deportations in this country. We've got 1.4 million people ordered to be deported. We've got 13,000 in ICE custody. But this is a huge Herculean task, and he is facing a lot of opposition from Democrat mayors across the country. It's really interesting that you've got some saying we're going to try to willfully block you from doing this, when we know that some of these folks have committed crimes, that they're a danger to our society. Your response to that, and ultimately, you know, the challenge that he's facing as he tries to carry out this order.
Every town's a border town, every state a border state, because what has happened, President Donald Trump is correct to say, let's make certain that we start with these criminal illegal aliens. And Jackie, I've got the CLEAR Act, which would allow local law enforcement to detain these criminal illegal aliens they apprehend, then to require ICE to deport them and reimburse those local agencies for the money that they have spent carrying out the federal government's job. The American people have spoken. They want the border secure. They want the fentanyl, the drug trafficking, the human trafficking, the sex trafficking, the gangs and the crime to end. They want an end to this. They know they can depend on President Trump to do that. They know that Tom Homan is going to be out there securing that southern border. It is why the American people overwhelmingly support the way President Donald Donald Trump is carrying out this transition.
And in the last moment we have left, of course, he wants to make, President-elect Trump wants to make the dollar king again. But he's also talking about China, and they're not looking at this from an economic standpoint per se. This is about fentanyl, as you mentioned. China has a huge role in that as well. Your final thoughts on how he will approach China differently than he did last time to get more out of them?
Yes, what he'll do is make them adhere to the quotas, the export quotas that he has held them to, the import and export quotas. Plus, he will begin the sanctions. They know what they're doing. They know they're endangering the American people. They know that it is the United States that has the fentanyl issue, not other countries. Donald Trump and his administration will not tolerate this. You're going to see a very strong Kristi Noem at Homeland Security and Holman on the border. We're going to get this issue under control, and I can assure you they will have the backing of the U.S. House and U.S. Senate as they carry forward on this work.
Senator Marsha Blackburn, thank you so much for being here today. Great to see you.
You got it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.